adaptogens are everywhere. Could you kind of explain what they are exactly? I'm not even clear.
They kind of have really grown in popularity, right? Like when I first discovered adaptogens, they weren't really everywhere. They were fairly new, 8 to 10 years ago. And um, so it took a lot of research for me to kind of figure out what they were and how they worked and all that kind of stuff. But basically, it's a classification of herb. So there's different classifications. You have your demulcents and you have your adaptogens. And adaptogens are like some are herbs, some are like shilajit, a resin, some are bark, berries. Um, so it's a wide variety. And basically they help the body. Um, they're kind of like the great equalizers. Like if you're up, they bring you down. If you're down, they bring you up. They kind of like bring you back into homeostasis. Um, and they do a really great job of mitigating stress in the body. So whether it's environmental stress or oxidative stress from sun or diet or just everyday stacker stresses, um, they work with the HPA system to stop the constant release of cortisol or mitigate the release of cortisol. So you're not always like um, on edge. They kind of like calm you down a little bit. So, but they also can energize you. They have different adaptogens have different affinities within the body. So they all work with stress, but some might be better at helping with digestion, and some might be better at clearing brain fog, and some might be better at giving you energy. So they all have their little like special things, but overall, they just really help with stress.
Okay, and I guess that makes sense with the name. So they adapt
Yeah.
to kind of what the body needs.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like I said, if you're up, they can bring you like up with like anxiety, um, or like stress, anything that's like high, it kind of like brings you back down. It's like a leveler.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, the only ones I had really heard of are mushrooms. I've heard, oh, this mushroom or mushrooms are an adaptogen, but I didn't know
oh,
all these other plants and things from nature were.
yeah, there's a couple mushrooms, cordyceps, reishi. Um, some people might say lion's mane is an adaptogen. Um, so basically, they have to have a normalizing effect in the body to be an adaptogen, and they have to be non-toxic. So let's say you took, a ton of ashwagandha. You're not going to end up in the hospital because it's non-toxic. The worst that's going to happen is you might get a stomach ache or you might get a headache, but you can't overdose on an adaptogen, really. So they're
All right.
very safe and effective at what they do.
For a moment there, I'm thinking of the teas that I have in my pantry. I'm thinking, oh gosh, like I wonder how much is too much ashwagandha tea. Can you kind of
Mm.
you overdo it on ashwagandha tea?
You'll know, like your body will be like, oh, I have a stomach ache. I must have overdone it. But you're not gonna end up in the hospital or something. So they are very safe and they are very effective. So, and usually in those teas, there's not too much anyway. But so you've heard of ashwagandha also, which is an Ayurvedic herb, and that's probably the big adaptogen that is getting its claim to fame right now. So.
And the only thing I really know about it is that it is great for hormone health, I believe. Okay, so you just mentioned Ayurveda, herbalism, and adaptogens all in one. Can you kind of, is there a differentiation there, or are they kind of all in the same family?
Well, adaptogens are just a classification of herbs.
Okay.
Ayurveda is the sister science of yoga. And basically, what that is it's kind of the study of life or the application of life through diet, lifestyle, and herbs. So those are the three things that Ayurveda really focuses on in terms of balancing health and staying in good health. And then herbalism is just the facet of Ayurveda where you work directly with herbs to create health in the body. So, and there's Eastern herbalism and Western herbalism, um, and they're pretty different, but the idea is the same. So,
If we're talking about like a reishi tea or like an ashwagandha tea, that would be an example of using Ayurvedic and an adaptogen all in an herbal tea.
yeah, exactly.
Great. I'm learning so much already. This is fantastic.
You got it.
Okay, I wanted to ask you more about Ayurvedic though, because I've heard of like the Ayurvedic diet, and I have heard it in relation to yoga, but then I've also heard it in like a spiritual sense and
Mhm.
a belief system. And I know you tie it in with your company, which I want to talk about, in a little bit. How does Ayurvedic come into balaveda?
So I formulated all of our powders and drinks. And because of that, because my background and experience is in Ayurveda, I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, an Ayurvedic health counselor, and my background's in herbalism. Um, that is the lens through which I formulated the drinks. So that is how Ayurveda kind of shows itself in Balaveda is through the formulations, but then also the lifestyle, right? Like people who are doing yoga or practicing Ayurveda or learning about adaptogens or herbs might be a little more drawn to um, a company that's using adaptogens or using clean ingredients. So I think that's how Ayurveda kind of shines through Balaveda.
Like what came first when I know it started out as kitchen experiments,
Yeah.
creating the brand. So
Yeah.
what actually was the moment that you were like, I need to incorporate this, or I need, this makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that whole origin story. So we were living on a farm
Mhm.
and I had three young kids and my husband was traveling all the time, like over 250 days out of the year. And so I was handling a lot. I was managing the farm and the house and the kids and by myself. And eventually, you know, it just, those stresses just stack and stack and stack. And you all of a sudden you're like, I don't feel like myself. I don't know what happened. Like
Mhm.
my digestion's off, my sleep is off, my stress is skyrocketing. I have no patience. Like I just feel frazzled. I have anxiety. Like, what is all this?
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. So when that happened, I was 35. I don't know how old you are, but I know that women go through a big change at 35. And I had just weaned my daughter. She was 2. And I was like, okay, I just feel so off. I need to find me again. And so I decided to take a month and just do whatever I thought was really good for me and like focus on me and like love myself. And in that month, um, I went on a SUP yoga experience with my girlfriend,
What's SUP?
stand-up paddleboard.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Yes.
like yoga out on the water.
Mhm.
Have you done that?
No, I've seen it. I want to try it.
It's wild. And so she was introducing me to some of her other SUP yoga friends, and she was like, "This is my friend Amanda. She does Ayurveda." And I was like, "I do?" I didn't even realize that I did it. So I went home after that and I just dug into Ayurveda. I was like, "What is this I'm doing that I don't know I'm doing?" And so I found that it's all about diet and lifestyle and exercise and um, herbalism. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of how I like to live. But so I dug into that, and they kind of came together at the same time, the adaptogens and the Ayurveda, because I started reading about herbs that could help me with the stress through Ayurveda, and it was ashwagandha, and it was reishi, and it was
If I'm being honest, I am not a fan of doing these ads. However, if I find a product and I support it and I try it myself firsthand and I fall in love with it, I am going to share it with you. And this time it is the elderberry syrup. I have been drinking it for a while now, 1 tablespoon almost every day, and it has truly become a part of my routine. I feel the immune boosting effects immediately. I am hooked. I just ordered another bottle, and I've been telling all my friends and family about it. If you're curious to give it a try, there's a link in the episode description. You'll get 10% off just for opting in. I promise you it is a game changer. All right, back to the episode.
And so I started immediately implementing them into my daily life. Like, I'm going to take these every day, whether it's in a capsule or in my smoothie um, or anything like that. So I started pretty quickly after implementing them every day. I started noticing a difference. And it was like, okay, this feels starting to feel a little more like myself. And one day, it was probably a couple months into this, but one day my husband came home from a trip and he was like, "You seem different." And I was like, "Yeah, let me tell you what I'm doing. I found these adaptogens and they are like making a huge difference in my day, like my day to day." And he was like, "Oh, okay, can I try some?" Because traveling is exhausting. And I
Yes.
was like, "Yeah, absolutely. You probably do need these." And he's like, Everybody probably needs these." And he's like, "Why couldn't you need to find a way to like tell everybody about these?" And I was like, "Yeah, we should." And that was kind of like the beginning, like spark of like where balaveda came from, introducing other people to adaptogens. And I had said to him, and this was, gosh, I think like 8 years ago, I was like, I love what these have done for me. Like, if adaptogens were a stock, I'd invest, but they're not. So, so we created a company using them as the base. Um, and that became Balaveda. So,
Wow. I love that. It's like whenever it happens, whenever a company unfolds like that, it's just, I don't know, there's something more organic and just like purpose driven behind it. You found something that like served you and you just had a genuine like, yeah, other people need to learn about this because it could help other people too.
exactly.
Yeah. I love that. And as you're sharing your story, I mean, I am 35 now, but I went through kind of my rough patch health era like 6 years ago. And I think I was also using adaptogens, but I didn't realize it. And I think that's what kind of helped me because I stopped drinking, stopped going out, stopped just became very health focused and quitting old habits and adopting new ones. There was just like that rough period. And I think yeah, because I was drawn to mushrooms at the time and drinking tea every day. And yeah, I feel like it was almost intuitive. And think
Yeah.
that's what happened with you.
Yeah. And looking back, adaptogens were kind of the gateway for me to a healthier, better life.
Mhm.
And it seems like they were for you too.
Yeah. Okay. So then what happened? Your husband started taking them and it helped him as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we started kind of messing around with formulating, and because I was using them in my smoothies, that's what we ended up focusing on. We made a smoothie. Um, We made 3 smoothies actually. And we went out to California and launched them, and they were doing great, and everyone was excited. And we had the next big thing. And then 2 weeks after we launched was COVID lockdown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so we weren't allowed in the stores, and all the stores canceled their orders because they were like, we have to focus on toilet paper and like beans or something. So we it was definitely a little devastating for us. But what we ended up doing was pivoting, and we were like, well, obviously people are going to need adaptogens more than ever now because
Mhm.
they're sick, they're stressed, they need help. So how can we put these out there without having to go in the store and educate people on them? Because adaptogens do require a modicum amount of education. And so we started with our immunity shots. And I had already been making them. I've been making elderberry syrup with my kids forever and putting amalaki in it and making lemon ginger shots at home. So we were like, we'll just do those. We'll just put those out to people, and hopefully that will help in this 2020 window that we're in. Hopefully it will help people. So we started with our elderberry and turmeric shots, immunity shots. Yeah.
Okay. I think I actually got to try I mean, everything that I got to try was amazing. I just have to put that out there for the listeners. I wouldn't have Amanda on here sharing her story if I hadn't already tried the product and fully back it, support it. So yeah, very, very good. Tastes very good and it's healthy. So definitely has my stamp of approval. I want to know too, like how has it evolved or what happened after that? And yeah, I just want to hear the whole story.
So after that, the the immunity shots were really well received. People were enjoying getting them just delivered to their house because it was 2020, 2021, and all of that. And we had decided that we have 2 teen boys, and they are getting into energy drinks. Um, and we were like, there's nothing out there that's actually good for you. Like, we have to we have to make a better alternative. Like for our kids, for our friends' kids, for, the next generation coming up, they can't survive on, Red Bull and whatever. So we
Mhm.
we decided to make a clean energy shot. Um, and we created our pineapple matcha shot, which is 90 milligrams of our organic green coffee bean extract, and formulated with adaptogens, of course, and vitamins like B12 that you need for energy, and then also our blueberry vanilla, which is 90 milligrams, and then those were really well received, and people were like, but we want more energy, like we want a bigger boost. And so we created the supersonic, which is an orange vanilla, and that has 180 milligrams of caffeine, um, which is definitely like the peak of where I was comfortable going, because that's a lot in a little shot. But um, the way that works is the caffeine is like the initial spike and the B12. And then you have the adaptogens that come up and meet you, right? Because they're the great equalizers. And they give you a very like coastable, um, long-lasting energy. So it's like there's no crash, and there's
Mhm.
the way it's formulated, um, it's not like super acidic and like upsetting your stomach, or super spiky and giving you a head rush. So it's a very like calm, focused energy, clean
Mhm.
energy. So we went to that next. And then, most of these things, most of the products that we make come out of like real life issues. Like, okay, my kids need a clean energy shot, or, in 2020, people needed immunity. Um, and then as I'm in my 40s now, my friends are in their 40s too, and they're like, we have to take this collagen, but it's gross.
Mhm.
Can you please make us like a good tasting collagen shot? And that challenge was really fun. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. So, made an adaptogenic collagen shot, and that's our current beauty shot. Um, but we are always working on new things. We have two new powders that are about to come out and another energy shot that's about to come out. So, yeah, we're always working on new products, but that's kind of the evolution of the line.
I used to be hooked on those energy shots and energy drinks, and I would always have a 5-hour energy in my purse, and I would chew on chocolate covered espresso beans. I would drink coffee. It was just, and then I got to a point where my body was no longer responding well to caffeine at all. And so I stopped caffeine years ago. And in the last couple years, I've, seen the explosion around like matcha and, just different types of things that are deemed as like healthier, like green tea and things. So I've kind of dipped my toes back in here and there. And each time I have, it's been a no.
Mhm.
I tried and I did receive one of the energy shots that was 180 milligrams. I thought, whoa, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But what I did was with the one that's I believe 90 milligrams, so the lesser one. So for both of them, I just tried sipping them.
Mhm.
And then and that was great. And I didn't have a crash. And other times in the last couple of years when I've tried, taking a sip of my friend's coffee just to see how I feel, and I can instantly feel like I almost get tired.
Mhm.
So it's like the opposite effect. And so I know that my body doesn't want that. But with the energy shots, it was perfect. And I'm like, what is in this? And even though like I only needed a sip each time because I'm, just not used to having caffeine now, but it was great. And then another thing that I did that some people might find this odd, but whenever I make salads, I don't use regular dressings. Like I don't ever use vinegar in anything, and I don't use oil. I'll use lemon, I'll use honey. If I juice something, sometimes I'll keep some of the extra juice and use that as part of a dressing. So what I did was I would use just a little bit from the shots as part of the dressing. And I don't know if you've ever heard of anyone doing that before with your drinks.
No, I haven't. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great because it already has all these different flavors in it, so it
Yeah.
mixed so well, and yeah, it was just great. And I just had to share that with you.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that. I know that like I did you get our Kapow cacao also?
Yes, and I've had it a few times, and it's every time I forget that it's there.
Well, I do a lot of cooking with that. Like we make
Really?
adaptogenic brownies
Oh
and
my gosh.
chocolate bars with coconut oil. And, we even put it in our pancakes in the morning or made cake with it. It's super
Wow.
versatile and fun to cook with. So I really love when people bring um, any of our products into the kitchen.
Mhm.
I think it's really fun. I have friends that take our coconut elderberry shots and mix that with some gelatin and make little elderberry gummies for their kids.
Mm,
So, and I've even had actually the elderberry coconut reduced and poured over like coconut ice cream.
yum.
Yeah, so they are super versatile in that sense. Yeah, you can bring them into, you know, your diet and your cooking in your kitchen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that with the powder. I've had it just in hot water, and even that is just so nice and warming and relaxing, and it just I can feel my cells like light up and just,
Hmm.
it's just yeah, I love the powder. That's probably honestly my favorite thing that I received that I've tried. Okay, if someone's new, because you covered a lot of different products that you have,
Mhm.
You have the functional brews, you have the beauty shots, the energy shots. You're coming out with new products. If someone is new to all of this, where's the best place for them to start?
I would say wherever you're drawn. Like it's so unique and different for everybody. Like you don't use caffeine. I actually don't use caffeine either. So I don't do the energy shots, but I didn't make them for us. I made them for the people who want a better alternative to what's on the market. They want something cleaner. They want ingredients they can read. And so I would say if you're trying to wean yourself off coffee, you know, the powders are really great for that, like having a cacao instead of a coffee. And the adaptogens will give you energy. Um, if you're wanting to get off of, you know, a dirty energy drink and you want something cleaner, then you can try that. Um, if you're just looking for like everyday health and wellness, I think the immunity shots are beautiful for that. And then, of course, like if you're looking to maybe an easier or tastier way to get your collagen down, the beauty shot is really great for that. So I would say start where you are um, pulled to start, like where your intuition says, I need, you know, cleaner energy, or I need to get off coffee, or I just need, and another way that a lot of people use our shots, and this is fantastic and I love it, is as mixers for mocktails.
Ooh.
So um, I have seen so many creative ways of people taking like the pineapple matcha energy shot and mixing it either with a seltzer or with some kind of juice or whatever and making their own little mocktail.
Mhm.
Because that is a big trend and transition that's happening in society right now as well.
Yeah.
Um, and they're, you know, they already have adaptogens in them, so they're gonna automatically be healthier for you anyway, but um, even healthier than just a regular mocktail. So it just depends on where you are in your health journey, um, and what
Yeah.
you need. I tried to create a nice selection so that people could find something that would be useful to them where they are.
Mhm. Yeah. And it's good that you package them all in a way where you can kind of get a variety of things and then kind of experiment and try out different.
Yeah. And being in glass was really important to us too.
Yes, I love that part.
Yeah, that was really important to us, and we've had a lot of people try to sway us into plastic, but to me, I don't think you make a health product and then put it in plastic. It just didn't make sense to me. So it's a little costlier, but I think it's worth it because it's clean.
Yeah, yeah, and it draws the right people, I think, probably because they appreciate and they the fact that it is in glass. I think it would probably steer some people away if it was in plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the glass is great. It's even great because I think I even saved the shot bottles.
Yeah.
You can reuse them.
Yeah. My sister takes her she makes her own salad dressing at home and she takes it in her lunch in the bottle.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things that you can do with it. I have a friend that teaches kids yoga, and she uses these, she drinks the beauty shots, and she cleans these out and uses them to make little stress shakers for the kids, little glitter shakers.
Oh,
So yeah, there's lots of ways you can reuse them and
yeah. Arts and crafts for kids. I wouldn't even think of that. That's yeah. And then another thing I just wanted to point out because I know a lot of people will find me from my page, which talks about skin because that's my health journey story is through skin, and that was one of the reasons too that I wanted to stop caffeine is because of the negative effects it can have on your skin. And so I have a lot of people that will ask me for alternatives or how to, wean off of coffee or caffeine. And that's the powder. I mean, the mushroom powder is ideal. That is perfect because normally I'll tell them mushroom teas are a great way. And then also, just weaning off, like going from coffee to green tea and then mushroom teas, but the powder would be fantastic.
Yeah, cacao is it's so beautiful. It just has so many benefits from, helping build stem cells in your body to relaxing and calming your heart. Um, it's a really beautiful medicine. And then, of course, we do have 6 adaptogens in there as well. We call them our super six. And they just add to the benefits. And so, I mean, it's wonderful for heart health, for skin health, for stress. It's a really beautiful blend. I drink it every day, so
Mm.
I love it.
I'm saying mushroom powder, but it is mainly cacao, right? And then there are mushrooms in it.
Yeah, there's reishi and cordyceps are in it, but there's also astragalus, amalaki, licorice, and one other one. But there's 6 adaptogens. 2 of them happen to be mushrooms, but the rest are not. Um, and it also has ginger
Mm,
and cardamom for that nice like rounding flavor. Um, so yeah, that's what's in it. It does have 2 mushrooms in it. So
yeah, it's very warming.
yeah. So you still have that like you can still have that ritual of that warming feel good drink in the morning, but not have the negative effects
Right.
that you would from crashing from the caffeine.
Hmm. Or even if you're one of those people that has it too late in the day or has it twice, caffeine, coffee, then maybe switch out your later one for this. And then, it doesn't affect your sleep and it's better because you're only doing the coffee once a day instead of twice.
Exactly. Caffeine stays in your system for up to 12 hours. So if you're having let's say you have that 2 to 3 p.m. slump where you're like, ugh, I need a coffee. Um, if you have that, then when you go to bed, whenever that is, 10, 10:30, 11, or whatever, you still have caffeine in your system. So definitely in the afternoon, I would suggest going to something like a cacao or a tea or a coffee or a tea or a mushroom coffee to substitute that for sure.
What daily ritual besides this one keeps you grounded?
Mm, there are so many. Um, I would have to say time in nature is probably what keeps me the most grounded. I do a daily walk every morning with my husband outside. And I have a garden with the kids. And so we're out in the garden most days and out for walks most days. And then, of course, we're going to the park or something like that. So definitely for grounding, time in nature.
Mm. And are you making sure that you are touching the earth? Like, are you
Mhm.
like grounding?
Oh, yeah. I do that usually in the mornings. Just walk out barefoot. I have 2 dogs, so I like to let them out. I like make my cacao, walk outside, let the dogs out, put my
Mm,
bare feet right on the grass. It's usually right around when the sun is coming up, so I'm trying to get that like early morning light.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, because how you start your day is so important.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. I do have two closing questions for you, but before I ask them, where can the listeners go to check out balaveda,
Yeah.
learn more about the products, and try them out for themselves?
Yeah, so balaveda.com is our website. You can go there and order a sampler pack and read about our story. We're also available on Amazon, um, and we're in lots of stores across the United States, um, especially California, Colorado, Utah. Um, so, yeah, you can walk into a 7-Eleven out there or your grocery store and find us.
Ah,
Um, And obviously we're on Instagram and TikTok. So you can find us there as well, just under Balaveda.
Great. And I'll have it linked in the show notes, of course. I'm going to California later this week, and I cannot wait to go in the stores. I'm gonna have to take pictures and tag you if I see it
Yeah,
anywhere.
I would love that. Where are you going?
I'll be in LA.
LA, yeah. Okay, we are, yeah, all over LA. So
Perfect.
hopefully you
That's
can
exciting.
spot us out there in the wild.
Yeah. Okay, so my first closing question for you is what is your number one health tip? So whether that's mindset, diet and nutrition, physical, emotional, spiritual, the one piece of advice you would like everyone to know.
Oh my goodness. The one piece of advice. Um, I don't really think there's one piece of advice. Everybody is so unique in their journey. Um, but I would say love yourself. Love yourself and watch and see what happens. Because the more you love this body that you're in and the more you love your life, whether it's a gratitude practice or a manifestation practice or whatever, the more you love yourself, that comes back to you in so many ways. So, um, it makes you want to care for your vessel. It makes you want to care for your life, care for your friends and family, care for the world around you. And so I think first and foremost, just love yourself.
Mm, beautiful. And I love that. And that, yeah, that's great. Because I mean, how do you pick one? But if you had to pick one, that kind of brings it all together.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm. My final question is going to be a more personal question, and you pick a number 1 through 100, and that will correlate to the question.
Okay.
You tell me the number.
Okay. 17.
What's the best way to build trust in relationships?
Communication.
No hesitation.
Hands down, communication.
Love it.
My husband and I just celebrated our 18th wedding anniversary, and
Mhm.
we have a business together and we have kids together. We're together all the time. And um, the most important thing in our relationship is communicating. So we don't watch TV together. We usually take that time to talk and connect. So I think if you want to foster trust, you got to talk, you got to communicate. So, yeah.
Mm, so good, so true. Thank you so much, Amanda. This has been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for starting the company and for doing everything that you do. And I am excited to be able to share this with the listeners. So thank you for coming on and for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed our conversation.